What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my best friend Brian over there discuss comic books that have been adapted into movies and streaming shows. The movie that has made over $1 billion in a weekend, the movie everyone is talking about, is now about to be discussed on our channel. We're talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, and Brian and I are going to give our general reviews first, and then we're going to go into spoiler territory pretty quickly. So, Brian, for our viewers, why don't you just give your overall impression of the movie?
I really like the movie a lot. I also have to say I'm just so impressed that this, made $1 billion in a weekend. We've talked about superhero fatigue before, and I don't want to say this is going to prove it's not true, but because Spider-Man movies always make billions of dollars.
Yes.
So maybe that's like the exception to the rule, but it was just nice to see that, they made a crap ton of money. I really like the movie a lot. I do think this is probably it might be it's my favorite Tom Holland performance as Spider-Man. It might be his best movie there. I'm still kind of comparing it to No Way Home, but No Way Home has a lot of that nostalgia factor to it to kind of give it a leg up, but it still did have some solid Peter moments in it.
Absolutely.
I thought they sort of kept some of the themes from the Brand New Day comic while not keeping everything there. They also stole a little bit from the other, which very little, I guess. And I enjoyed the movie and the performances. Maybe wish it was a little more Spider-Man character centric than what we got.
Yeah.
But I want to see it again. I'm excited to see what's next. I hope we get more Tom Holland Spider-Man movies that are standalone like this and not just multiversal shenanigans. So yeah.
Okay, great review. Yeah, I will also say that it's by far, I think, the best performance of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Did you notice that like his Queen's accent was like thicker in this movie too?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. One of the things I love about this movie is that Spider-Man is like in costume, like he has his mask on for a huge chunk of the movie, most of the movie, which is much more like a Spider-Man comic than the movies have.
Speaking of the costume, I would probably say this is my favorite live-action Spider-Man costume they've done, hands down.
Yep. There were a couple of scenes in this where I just liked looking at him in his costume. I was like, oh, that looks so cool. Him right there, wearing that suit. But I think it's the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. And one of the things I was thinking about was how out of all the MCU movies, I really do think that his like arc throughout all of his movies, like each part leads into the next part really well, and it feels like this ongoing thing versus like Captain America is great, right? But I feel like there's like this big shift from the first Avenger to Winter Soldier, and then Winter Soldier and Civil War go good together, but then you have that fourth Captain America movie which is pretty mid, as the kids say, and then like the first Thor movie's pretty good. The second one is pretty bad. Then Ragnarok's awesome, and then Love and Thunder is pretty rough too.
I just want to quickly comment on Captain America. So I think Captain America: First Avenger is the only real Captain America movie, and it's really just kind of like a prequel setup movie for the Avengers. And then the Winter Soldier is both a sequel to Avengers and a setup for Civil War. And they're not, I mean, yes, the Winter Soldier is a great standalone Cap movie there, but like I feel like it's really just to stand up a larger story both times.
Yeah.
With the exception
we should point out that like Winter Soldier is probably in the top 5 for both of us too, right?
Oh yeah. Winter Soldier was a fantastic movie. Yes.
Yeah. It's one of the best ones. But so I mean, I love it overall, and I think the scenes with Tom Holland and Zendaya are really good, and we've talked about this before, but like I've not really liked this interpretation of MJ, and it's not because she's played by a woman of color. It's not that. It's just that like the way her character is in these movies, I don't really like her. But then I liked her in this movie. we know from the trailers that Hulk and Punisher are in the movie, and I really, really love the interaction between Punisher and Spider-Man in this.
Yeah, that's absolutely a highlight of the movie for me. Although this is not the same Frank that we've seen before. This is comic relief Frank and not like homicidal screaming John Bernthal Punisher.
Yes,
it was
yes.
a really weird disconnect, but their chemistry was so good I didn't care.
Right.
I actually learned too that they met in like 2015, 16, something around there, filming a movie together, and they actually helped each other film their auditions for their respective Marvel roles.
That's so cool. That is really cool.
So like I kept seeing them doing like all these interviews together for the press junkets and all that. I'm like, man, like they seem like they really know each other really well. So
yes,
and
so like this movie, we have a new director for the Spider-Man franchise, the MCU Spider-Man franchise, and it like visually looks very different from the previous three. I know that they did a lot of like practical shots, like on location. It certainly feels like that, but just in general, it looks different, and I really like the way that this one looks. The director, he did Shang-Chi, and then he did that Wonder Man series.
Wonder Man,
too.
yeah. Which unfortunately they just announced that they're not going to have a second season.
Yeah, but I really liked Shang-Chi, and I really liked Wonder Man, and I really like this movie. So, like, as far as MCU properties go, this guy's got a great track record for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought he did really good here. I liked Shang-Chi. Maybe at the end went a little off the rails for me, but I loved Wonder Man, and I really liked this movie, and I'd be happy to have him come back and do another two to make a trilogy if they end up doing that. I do remember a long time ago Tom Holland saying like I'm doing something wrong if I'm still playing Spider-Man when I'm 30, and I think he's 30 now or close to it after it. So I hope he does more. We did get a stinger saying Spider-Man will return, which I'd like to talk about towards the end, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like the movie. I like the arc. It does sort of mirror a little bit of the Brand New Day comic, which was kind of infamous in a way for it was Spider-Man makes a deal with Mephisto to save Aunt May's life, and the cost of that is his marriage to MJ, and then nobody remembers who he is. So they are operating on that kind of same idea that nobody knows who Peter Parker is or Spider-Man.
Right.
And he is very alone and kind of starting from scratch. And it's kind of like the whole Parker luck idea that's so prevalent there. But the villain in that arc was Mr. Negative. And in here we get the worst kept secret of the year, Jean Grey, as sort of pseudo villain.
You didn't say spoilers yet.
Spoilers, haven't we?
No.
Oh,
we didn't.
Damn it! Sorry.
The worst kept secret because of me. No. Spoiler for the movie.
Everybody knew that months ago.
You didn't fucking know it. You kept away from trailers and stuff.
No, I heard a rumor of that, and that's when I stopped.
Yeah, but they had so many different fucking rumors. There was like, she's Madeline Pryor. She's this stupid fucking Spider Wasp villain.
I heard the Wasp one. I heard Rachel. I didn't hear Madeline Pryor, but okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I ruined everything.
Okay. Okay. So I'm glad it was Jean and not Madeline Pryor. Could you imagine if you had done this movie and then like Madeline Pryor was the character instead?
What it is?
I mean,
Madeline thinks she's Jean. I don't know. I'm just saying things.
Well, okay. Well, let's take this ball and roll with it for a second, though, right? Because we're in spoilers now. In this movie, Jean Grey is the antagonist. We'll say that. I would say she's a villain in it, but her motivation is that her sister was kidnapped or taken into custody by damage control, and she's trying to find out where her sister is. So she creates a lot of chaos. Now, Jean Grey doesn't have a sister in the comics, right?
I should have looked this up. I know that the Grey family exists because I remember some storyline where like some alien race came to like try to kill them all. The whole Grey family reunion. So I don't know if she has a sister or not, but she did have a sizable family at least. But I don't particularly remember anything critical about if she had a sister, if it was important or not, or ever being like a side character of any significance.
Yeah, well, like regardless, like the fact is, like she didn't have a sister that was a mutant with the same powers.
No, but I mean, we know that mutant powers are genetic, so it's not totally far fetched to believe that siblings could have the same powers. In my head.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it works for motivation, but now it's time to bring up the subject that like we could definitely go back and forth about, which is like what Jean Grey actually does in this movie, right? So she's on a mission. They just call her a telepath. They don't say she's a mutant. The word mutant isn't used in the movie at all. And she's able to hop from body, not even hop from body to body. She can like control people's bodies. And then like if she controls one person, then she can control a person beyond that, that's up to 33 feet away from them. And it just keep going. Um, and you saw that in the trailers. But in this movie, it starts off with her taking control of a tank that's going through downtown Manhattan, like just crashing into cars and making them flip in the air, and then like shooting machine guns into buildings and stuff. And I feel like that's like too villainous for a character, you know?
Yeah, it is, and she definitely threatens other people's lives. She lets somebody get hit by a truck. It's not a good look. But the one thing I do want to point out is that how many X-Men characters are there that start off as villains that have been completely redeemed and are now beloved, and you don't even remember what all the bad shit they did beforehand. So
Yeah.
on one hand, I don't mind that she. I mean, she's supposed to be young. She doesn't know what she's doing. I can see her, being unsure of how to deal with a large organization that kidnapped her sister there. I mean, one of my thoughts though is that this whole time is that why didn't she? I mean, she can clearly see Spider-Man as a heroic character, even though she's trying to stop this tank from crashing into damage control and foiling her plans. You can tell he's a good guy. Why not just ask him for help?
Yes.
Like,
dude,
I know you don't have a movie then, maybe. I don't know.
Right. No, he is 100% a good guy. Like in this movie, they talk about how like awesome he is at stopping crime. New York City's crime rate has gone way down, and it's so weird because like this is in the same world as Daredevil Born Again, right?
Yeah.
And like that it is because they have a poster of Mayor Fisk on the side of a dumpster.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it has graffiti and stuff on it. And then he's given the key to the city, and it looks like he's being given it by the mayor. But the woman giving him the key is Fisk's like number 2 woman in Daredevil Born Again.
I did not notice that at all. That's a great find, though. We're going, notice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Peter is essentially like given his whole life to Spider-Man, and he's just focused on stopping crime. And he's partnered up with Jean DeWolf, which is like a really fucking exciting little development.
Yes.
Right.
Jean DeWolf being in this is very exciting. There is a very famous Spider-Man story, The Death of Jean DeWolf, that revolves around the Secret Wars sort of and the symbiote and that whole arc with Peter. And I'm curious if that is intentional or not. But it was great to see that character. But that is one of the few kind of Spider-Man-y characters that are in this movie. The movie is filled with, of course, the Punisher did debut in a Spider-Man comic. Okay. But, you have the Hulk, you have Jean, and you have William Metzger, who is a minor anti-mutant X-Men villain. Like, where are the Spider-Man characters? And yes, you could say, we had Scorpion in the beginning. We had Tombstone. We had Tarantula. We had Boomerang. And maybe Tombstone had a line. Scorpion did a little bit. The other two did nothing. There's just a significant lack of all the stuff that you usually see with Spider-Man. Like I understand that maybe it's kind of dated to have Peter work at the Bugle because it's a newspaper and they're not as prominent as they were back when this character was created. But I miss those characters. I miss the Osborns. I miss Robbie Robertson, J. Jonah Jameson, things like that. And I
Yeah.
kind of worry that because we got alternate multiverse versions of those characters in No Way Home, that they're just not going to do them here. And then again, maybe we reset with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Maybe we get a reset. Maybe we get some more traditional Spider-Man stuff there. But why couldn't the Hulk be Kirk Connors?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they adapt Jean's role into some existing Spider-Man villain? Like, I mentioned before, Mr. Negative, which maybe you could sort of get the same arc in a way, not 100%, but you could. He does sort of control people in a way. He brings out the negative and the worst, and that could work with the whole the other aspect here, where he has this kind of overwhelming sense of his powers, and he kind of loses control. That would have worked well against the idea of what Mr. Negative can do. But I also wonder that because that character was used in the PS4 Insomniac Spider-Man game, that maybe they just said like, oh, we can't touch that toy right now because they already used it.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is that, first of all, Spider-Man, like, he's owned by Sony and the MCU, right?
Yeah.
So you already have this sort of like cognitive dissonance between how they're going to handle Spider-Man stories, and then it becomes, can we shoehorn Marvel characters in there? Like, we can't have the Hulk in a standalone Hulk movie because he's still owned by Universal, but we could have the Hulk be in this movie, right? Which is exciting because I saw this great TikTok the other day where they were saying that Marvel's big three, like when we got into comics and for like most of the 90s and stuff, the big three were Wolverine, Spider-Man, and the Hulk, right? Like that was all the marketing was on those three. That was where all the excitement was, right? This movie essentially has that dynamic, but you just swap out Wolverine for Punisher, right? Like Kirk Connors, it would have made way more sense for him to interact with Kirk Connors. You could have had that same sequence where he's like the lizard and he attacks damage control at the end of the movie or the middle of the movie, whatever. But it's all this like behind the scenes stuff that influences story beats. And like, so it doesn't necessarily make sense in the world for certain things to happen. Like, for instance, like Peter goes and he meets with Bruce Banner, because his powers are starting to get out of control. He's wondering if there's some way he can suppress them. And their interaction is great, but then it's weird that like Jean Grey decides to then use Bruce Banner to attack damage control. It's like big coincidence, and there's no like bridge, right? And then like the Punisher, we've already talked about how he's this crazy mass murderer, but then at the end of the movie, he's able to bring Spider-Man into a hospital and then like just hang out in the hospital for days, even though he's like a wanted criminal,
Yeah, I also heard that there was that Rosario Dawson had filmed the scene that helped explain how they kept Peter's identity secret at the end of the movie, but they ultimately cut it.
Oh, that would have been cool. That would have been cool to connective tissue. But you bring up that point, that's like another really good point. Like, I think that maybe at some point with this movie, it was more Spider-Man centric, and they realized they had to take bigger shots, and that's why they shoehorned Jean Grey in here versus Mr. Negative. Because I think that like you could have had a similar movie with Mr. Negative as the antagonist, and then there's ninjas in this movie. There's the Hand, but Mr. Negative has his own ninjas as well, and like that final sequence could have just been with Mr. Negative's ninjas, whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No. So ultimately, I guess the best way to sum this up is I really like what they did with the movie and how they used what they had, but I wish it was more Spider-Man-y. I wish the situation was different, that we could get a full potential, non-handicapped Spider-Man movie that's made with this level of quality.
Okay, so Brian, let me ask you a question. Would this movie have made $1 billion this weekend if it was Kirk Connors as the Lizard instead of the Hulk, and it was Mr. Negative causing these problems instead of Jean Grey?
I don't know. I don't know. Is the initial tease of the new version of X-Men enough to push that beyond it, or is Spider-Man really still the selling point here? I mean, I see it both ways. That I would be excited to see Spider-Man characters in a Spider-Man movie, but I'm also very excited to know what Marvel's going to do with the X-Men now that they have those rights. Like that's been the most talked about thing. Like that's all we see in like the trades now. Who's potentially getting cast as in Marvel's X-Men movie? You know, like we've heard Samara Weaving as Emma Frost. We've heard Kit Connors now cast as Cyclops alongside Sadie Sink's Jean Grey. You know, it does seem to be something that everyone is looking forward to, but did people actually think it was Jean going in? I mean, I know I heard that rumor beforehand, months before. I think it initially started as Rachel Gray, but you know, do people look into things as much as I do? You know, or we do? Or they just kind of go see movies because they saw a trailer and they think it looks cool and they like Spider-Man?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think that like people don't even actively look into things like we do. And I don't even know if we even actively look into things anymore. I think it's just you go on Instagram, Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. It's like you don't even have to like Google who's Sadie Sink playing. It's just there now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's hard to avoid that kind of stuff. It really is.
Right. So my point though that I wanted to make, Brian, was that I think that if you took out the stuff that's kind of like shoehorned in there to be like bridges into other MCU things, like you take out Jean Grey, take out the Hulk, and you have Kirk Connors as the Lizard, and you have Mr. Negative as the villain, and maybe he's not hopping into different bodies, but he's like making people become negative, evil versions of themselves, and you keep all the stuff with like Peter becoming more like a spider and dealing with like MJ and Ned not remembering him. I think that's a really fucking solid movie. Like I think the best parts of the movie are not the actual Jean Grey aspect of it, or even the Hulk, even though I do like the Hulk stuff a lot in this movie too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Hulk stuff is really good because he's back to that savage Hulk. He's really fucking scary. Like when he because he turns back into Bruce for like a minute, and then he turns into the Hulk again, and that was like a really fucking scary sequence when it gets like a lot bigger in that building.
Yes, yeah, like I don't remember him being that big. Yeah, I love how visually distinct it looked as well, and that fight scene had probably one of my favorite visuals in the entire movie, where Spider-Man is pulling Frank with the webbing and he's shooting the Hulk in the air there. Yeah. I thought that was a great slow-mo shot there.
Right.
So it does work to have those kind of characters there in it, and maybe those are more well-known characters for people, and so maybe they are a selling point and to a degree. But I think personally I would have enjoyed the movie more had it been just with Spider-Man characters.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we're completely on the same page. I mean, Marvel is doing the right thing in this moment where they're like, okay, see, Jean Grey's in this movie, and now, this perfectly cast woman is going to be Emma Frost. Like, it's so, here's Cyclops. We got this little, Trinity right here. Like, they know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But there's a couple other things I want to talk about real quick before we wrap this up. I know we have to talk about X-Men too, but
we already are talking about X-Men.
Yeah. No. Hold on one second. God damn it. Now I just completely lost my fucking train of thought. Like, never mind.
Okay, so I'll bring up something that I wanted to talk about. I would like to talk about Ned. I also love the chemistry between Peter and Ned. It's always fantastic. It's always a highlight to me. When he's in the suit and they're building Legos together, I thought was incredible. And then the end scene with the handshake, I was a little baby. Seeing that in the theater there. And if I didn't mention it, I saw this in a 40X theater. Maybe, I don't know if that was the right choice, but it was a couple times where I thought I was actually going to fall out of the seat. But I don't know if I recommend doing that. But it was an experience for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I really love all the stuff with like Peter trying to get control over his powers. There's this really great sequence where he just fucking takes Scorpion and just like smashes his head into a fucking cop car at one point, you know?
Rips
And
his tail off.
yeah, he rips his tail off. Like, I love that he's like out of control and then he's trying to figure out how to control himself, which is what leads him to talk to Bruce Banner. And it has him create an inhibitor for himself. But as soon as Bruce Banner's having this conversation with Peter Parker about like, wait, so you want to like target specific things? And then he's like, you could like do that for anybody that has powers. And I'm like, oh, that's like setting up for like mutants right there.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought that too. Yeah. And I also
know?
like the question he poses where he says like, how do you pick and choose what's good and bad? You know?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, if they move forward and they kind of connect Spider-Man a little bit more with the X-Men post Secret Wars, it'd be really interesting to think that like that tech that Peter created could lead to inhibitor collars for the X-Men, you know?
Yeah, no, it would be interesting to see that or not. And it's also interesting to sort of see Peter in more of a mentor role. I feel like in the other movies, he was being mentored by somebody else. You know, the first one, it's Tony Stark. The second one, it's Mysterio. The third one, it's sort of Otto and Norman in a way.
Yeah.
And then his multiversal copies as well. So here it's like he's the one that's kind of showing somebody else the ropes here with Jean being the mentee here. So that's an interesting turn, and I think it's a good character arc for Peter, this version of Peter anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We could actually talk about this movie for like a really long time, but we gotta get to our X-Men review too. But I would say that considering all the weird different things that are pulled together into this movie, it's a lot better than I thought it could have been. And it's my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. I still have kind of issues with what Jean Grey does, and especially when like she takes control of MJ and Peter doesn't know it. Like I feel like that's sort of going too far. That's almost like too villainous. You know, she makes an old man walk into traffic, and she like fucks up the Hulk's life, right? Because he was like a college professor, and then like
10 years gone, man.
Yeah. But I just felt like that was really villainous what she did with Peter and MJ. You know.
Somebody, I'm not 100% sure this is confirmed or not, but in Bruce Banner's class, the girl that asked the question, I believe that is supposed to be Cindy Moon, who's also appeared in previous Spider-Man movies.
Really?
I want to go double check on that, but I had heard that it looks like the same actress, I think, or similar. So it's been a while since we've seen this. I don't know if she was in every movie, but that's a Spider-Man thing I would be down for seeing.
yeah, fucking Silk. That'd be really cool. I like Silk a lot, actually. Well, do you have anything else you want to add to this discussion right now?
Yeah. What did you take of the post credits stinger with the spider tracker? What do you think that is?
So I saw this movie at like 10:25 at night, and I had to be at work, wake up at 6 a.m. So I looked up to see what the scene was, and they're like, "Oh, it's the tracker," and it shows that there's a Spider-Man sighting in space. Yeah. And I was like, "Okay, we could leave." Right? So like, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I'm guessing that's sort of a reference to Secret Wars. I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday.
Yeah, some people were saying that it's another Spider-Man coming from another world, another universe. Some people say it's him going to Battle World or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that sometimes they don't know. You know, like what about that fucking end scene of Shang-Chi where they're they have all the rings and like, oh, there's a signal coming from space. You know, if you take that Shang-Chi scene and you take that Spider-Man scene, it would almost be like Doctor Doom has some kind of like place that's just in space. That maybe that'll be Battle World. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Marvels too. That ending scene. Something's coming from space too, isn't it?
There's a scene like that in Marvel. I thought.
Oh no, it's not the Marvels was Beast. But Beast was in space. And I'm thinking of, I guess, Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts. I'm thinking of. Oh, we didn't talk about Florence Pugh at all.
Yes, yes. But
Uh,
we should. But like, what about Thunderbolts though? Is that's the Fantastic Four, isn't it? That shows up.
yes, but
Yeah.
in space.
Yes. Okay. So go ahead. Talk about Florence Pugh.
I was surprised to see that character there, but given the theme of the Thunderbolts movie and this with that kind of whole loneliness aspect, I thought it was thematically appropriate.
I mean, the end of this movie ends the way the Thunderbolts ends too, doesn't it? Where
Sort of.
like, in someone's mind, right? Like where Jean Grey is like taken over New York the way the Void is like getting rid of New York, and
Yeah.
then they're able to like convince her in her mind to turn good, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of funny thinking about, Black Widow, Black Widow 2, whatever you want to call it, saying things Spider-Man is doing is small potatoes. Where
Yes, yes.
he's such a bigger and more powerful character, I suppose. I know she's on the New Avengers, dealing with world kind of threats and all that, but Spider-Man can hang, man.
Oh no, yeah, he can hang. I mean, we didn't see him hanging in the tub. He had his underwear on, but it was cool to see him like in the tub. Did you think that his mask was CGI when he was in the tub?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't. No, I guess I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
I was like, it looks a little off when he's in the tub, but I really like that sequence. It really felt like a comic there. It felt the most like a Spider-Man comic out of all of these Spider-Man movies so far.
Yeah, yeah,
Just minus all the Spider-Man characters,
yeah.
except for the Spider-Man characters that you see for like 3 seconds each in the beginning montage.
Yeah, I had to look up a picture to like, wait a minute, did they actually show Boomerang?
Right. Yeah, I didn't remember seeing him. So yeah, but what do you call it? I guess that we can wrap it up because we gotta talk about X-Men. I gotta get my kids and shit. But I really enjoyed it. Sounds like you really enjoyed it, and we're down for some more Tom Holland Spider-Man movies in the future.
We sure are.
All right, well, we're gonna go record our X-Men review, guys. Let us know what you thought about Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and me and Brian, just like Tom Holland, we can also hang when we're in the pool too. We'll see you guys later. All right, let's end the recording. Hold on a second. There we go. End.